Today on Blueluigi's Video Game Reviews, we're going to be taking a look at a game that uses the essentials of an arcade game. Now, what kind of essentials are they? And, are they really something that you would expect in an arcade game? That is what we're going to find out today, right here, so stay tuned. Welcome to Blueluigi's Video Game Reviews, the review series where I showcase all the countless video games in history, and we'll be giving a rating on a scale of 0 to 10. This is Blueluigi's Video Game Reviews. Alright guys, today I'm going to be reviewing Arcade Essentials. Now, this is a game that I downloaded from the Wii Shop channel. I was looking through some decent Wiiware games to play, and seeing as how Arcade Essentials is marketed as 5 classic games, then I figured, how can you go wrong with that? Well, I guess we'll see about that, so let's play Arcade Essentials. Well, it seems that the game starts you straight towards the game selection. Over to the left are the games that you select, so I'm going to start off with Interceptor. That's funny. I've never heard of an arcade title named Interceptor. Oh well, let's just start the game and see what it is. Well, here you'll see that it's kind of a mix between Space Invaders and Galaga. You're shooting a set of space creatures that's lined up in that same formation that you would expect from Space Invaders. Though this game is way easier. And while you're battling all these creatures, then you'll fight the boss of the level. It's really not that hard at all. All you have to do is keep firing your ammo at the enemies, and you'll take them down with no problem. So far, I feel like this is way too easy. In some cases, I thought the reason why this is too easy for me is because I'm just really that damn good at arcade games like these. But even when I'm playing games like Galaga and Space Invaders, I still feel like there's more of a challenge to those. So I'm gonna say this right now, that Interceptor is way too easy. Okay, so that's enough of this one. Now it's time to move on to the next game. This one is called Terra Conqueror. And looking at this one, it turns out to be a complete ripoff of Keeks. But instead of trying to avoid a bunch of lions coming after you, you have to avoid these little bugs. Oh come on, is that it? These puny little bugs? I will admit though, I was kind of having trouble with this one at first, because whenever I would be trying to make all these different rectangles, the other ships would come crashing right into me. And this was due to the fact that they'd be moving so fast that I don't even know how to avoid getting crashed. It wasn't until later that I found out that you can keep making your squares while the bugs are outside of your workspace. Which is interesting considering how in Keeks, the lines are inside your workspace at all times. This part of the game isn't really that bad, but I'd still much rather play Keeks than this game any day. Moving on to the third game, we got Color Cells. And this one is... Wait a minute! They're not... Oh, you have gotta be kidding me. I just cannot believe this. It's one thing to rip off Space Invaders and Keeks, but now they're ripping off Bust-A-Move? Seriously? This is inconceivable. Not to mention that there's already a much better Bust-A-Move game released on Wiiware. It is called Bust-A-Move Plus. This release of the classic puzzle game uses the basic mechanics that you would expect from the Bust-A-Move series. Just line up your slider toward the different light color bubbles, and you'll clear out the area. Even though this game is fun, it kind of lacks the charm that the older Bust-A-Move games have, but I would at least recommend it to those who have never played Bust-A-Move before. However, if you have a Nintendo 3DS, then I got something that is even better. Bust-a-Move Universe. I enjoy this one a lot more, mainly because there's more going on with this one. There's a story mode, with the characters are trapped inside their own bubbles, and unlike the Wiiware version, this game uses the same old sound effects and music from the classic Bust-a-Move series. That's the type of thing that puts more charm in this classic puzzler. However, I wouldn't recommend paying 20 bucks for it. But if you ever find it for 10 bucks, then I would say go pick it up. If I ever get enough requests though, I might review both these Bust-a-Move games in greater detail. But enough about that, let's go back to arcade essentials, or more specifically, color cells. Aside from the fact that this is a really bad Bust-a-Move clone, this also feels like it's way too easy. Each level has a set of 2 lines, with a limited selection of light color hexagons. The way they're lined up makes this so easy to clear out because there's absolutely nothing that's even trying to trap you from making your shot. There's hardly any booby traps that's stopping you from aligning your shots. Everything is lined up exactly how you want them. There is zero challenge to this game. With Bust-a-Move, they have colored bubbles lined up in a wide variety, so much to the point that sometimes you have to align your shots carefully in order to clear out the area you want to clear out. There's also times where you'd have to make a new row of bubbles because the only other area that does have these bubbles are blocked by the other colors. In color cells, you just have the same colors of pink, blue, yellow. No variety, no challenge, no luck, nothing. It's as bland as Bust-a-Move can possibly get. Next game is Troops Attack, and yet again, we have another bad clone, this time of Missile Command. And just like all the other lousy games in this compilation so far, this one is also way too easy. And I swear to God, it seems like with this one, it's almost as if they're trying to make this one easier. In the original version of Missile Command, your goal is to shoot missiles in the sky and defend the cities from some of the other missiles and bombs that's trying to blow everything up. However, in that game, the missiles you shoot is from one of the 3 launchers, depending on which button you press. But in Troops Attack, you don't have 3 launchers, but instead, you have just 1 turret, and it's easy as hell to blast all the enemies. Just point your Wii remote at the TV, and just keep hitting the fire button. Each level has a big alien boss, and they are nowhere close to being threatening, no matter how many times he shows up. All you have to do is fire a few shots at him, and boom, he's dead. There's nothing stopping you from doing that either. And I swear to God, I've been going through so many countless levels of this game, and yet I feel no sense of accomplishment whatsoever. If anything, I just get really bored from playing this much of the game. God, how much longer is this game going to go on for? I mean, just look at what level I'm on. 22? I haven't even lost a life yet, and I'm already feeling bored playing this game. You know what? That's it. I'm done playing. I'm moving on to the next game. And now, we're on to the very last game on this compilation. This one is called Hexagon, and right off the bat, can you guess what this game is a ripoff of? Well, I'll give you some clues. There are some colored cubes, or hexagons, all over the game. You hop on them, and they change color. There are also enemies hopping around as they're trying to close in on you. There are these portals located to the very sides that you jump through, and you make it back to the very top. And in order to complete the level, you have to make sure to hop on all the hexagons to make sure that they're the right color. So now tell me, what is this game a ripoff of? Well, if you guessed Q-bert, you're right. Yes, this game is a shameless ripoff of Q-bert. Because in that game, Q-bert hops on cubes, he avoids enemies such as colored balls as well as a snake named Coily. There are flying discs located to the side, and in order to complete the level, Q-bert has to hop on all the cubes to make sure they're the right color. Although, to be fair, they did at least try to do something a little different with Hexagon. For example, if you move over to the sides, then the area would rotate left and right in a 3D type angle. The problem with that, though, is that you have to point your Wii remote at each of the hexagons in order to move your ship. And that's another thing that doesn't make sense about this game. You're controlling a ship? I mean, I know you do that on most of the other games on Arcade Essentials. Well, that is, except for color cubes. But I don't know, it just seems so weird to be playing Q-bert, where you're a ship instead of an actual character, all while hopping on a three-dimensional version of the game while listening to the same generic music in the background. Oh yeah, and that's another thing I wanted to bring up about this game. The music. Throughout the entire game, you're listening to the same techno music again and again. Sure, it sounds cool at first, but it gets really old really fast. And mixing that with the incredibly easy gameplay to every one of these games, then you got one dull game right there. So overall, Arcade Essentials is really not essential at all. When it comes to each and every one of these arcade knockoffs, then I would have to say, just save your money and stick with the originals. Arcade Essentials receives a score of 4 out of 10. The good things I would have to say about the game is that the graphics have a nice Tron-like atmosphere, and the Hexagon game has a nice 3D rotation space for your spaceship. But the bad things about the game is that the music is super repetitive. All the games are ridiculously easy, and the knockoffs are so incredibly bland, it just leaves the player getting bored to death. Be sure to check out the official blip.tv page for Blueluigi's Video Game Reviews by going to blip.tv/BVGR. It has all the episodes uploaded in order and uncut, so you can watch them there. And it's also going to be where the reviews are posted first before it's shown on YouTube. Also, be sure to check out the Facebook page for DSL Productions and click the like button to follow some news on some of my upcoming videos. The link is right here in the URL, so go check it out. Well guys, that's all I have to say about Arcade Essentials. You know, the only thing that's left to be said is that you're just better off playing with the original arcade classics. So, anyway, I will see you next time.
Yes.